Welcome back, Stache Club Wrestling. My name is John Moonsault. Today, I'm recording this, 30 minutes, maybe an hour after Raw just went off the air. We are going over this week's yays and boos for Monday Night Raw that happened. When this comes out, it was last night. As is tradition at this point, I asked a bunch of you on Twitter to give me your hot takes, and I'm going to kind of give them a yay or a boo. It's like, I agree with it, I disagree with, yay, boo, and here's the thing. I'm not changing the name. That's the name. That's the name. That's the name. Yay or nay, ye or no. No, the name is yay or boos because it's the punch. It's like, yay, boo. It makes sense. It makes sense. That's the name. All right, with that said, please make sure you subscribe, leave your likes, leave your comments. We have merch in the description. We also have a Fanatics link that you can use to get some WWE gear. Patreon.com/Wrestling support the channel. Get a bonus wrestling Q&A podcast. Check out everything else. Follow my channel. Follow me. Follow everyone. Follow Gene. Follow Sophie. All right, next. Now that the plugs are out of the way, let's go to the first one. From Deporticus or Deporticus. Actually, not sure how to pronounce it. But shout out you, legend. I was not familiar with Lyra's mic game. I loved her in-ring talent already, but I would never guess she could cook like that in a head-to-head promo. I agree. Honestly, I think she is washing Becky in these weekly promos. Now, admittedly, maybe because of that, this hasn't been my favorite program going into it. They kind of are shoehorning the Bayley stuff, and it's just like last week Becky was like, I took out Bayley, and trust me, and I guess they did show Bayley injured in the pre-show at night one, but I don't know, you think we'd get some security footage? I don't know, it's just kind of just it feels just stapled together of well, this makes sense, let's just go with Becky, attack Bayley, and bada bing, bada boom. But to your point, I think a highlight of the promos that is, has been Lyra's mic work. She's had some really good one-liners, a lot of she's the underdog, or more so the prodigy, and saying no, I'm the new Becky Lynch, you're jealous of me, I'm here now, I'm the one, I'm the first IC champ, I did this, you're jealous, blah, blah. I think so too, while maybe the program and the direction hasn't been my favorite, this is gonna deliver. They're gonna have a banger at Backlash. So it's gonna be one of those ones where it's yeah, the story to me is a little clunky, there's highlights here, there's good points in the promos, and Lyra has some good one-liners, and you got a Becky line, there's stuff you can take from it, but I haven't come out of the promos being oh, altogether that was great, like I said, except the highlights in Lyra, and then, some Becky one-liners, whatever. But yeah, this is gonna be one of those ones where you come into it, they put on a banger, and you're okay, that was all worth, I get it now, it all culminated in this match, word, cool. And yeah, we knew how great Lyra is in the ring, and it's cool that we're getting to see her kind of open up more on the mic, or maybe that's not even the case, maybe just given the opportunity and the chance to be on the stick and go off, and she's been delivering, which has been really great to see. So yeah, this is a yay. This is a yay, 1000%. We're starting off hot. All right, next one. We need a third man for Rollins and Braun. It's got to happen now, especially if Raw ends in that kind of way. A 6-man tag at Saturday night's main event later this month makes sense. But question is, who is that third man? I want Drew McIntyre, but there can be so many different possibilities with this. We're going to talk it out. I'm not really sure where I am at this point, because I was initially in the camp when this faction first started. I was who's the third man? We speculated on the podcast, and who could it be? It could be this person, this person. But I also agree with, and I think my foot is heavier in this camp of, do they need a third man? Paul Heyman kind of laid it out very well to Braun Breaker for the audience of plan 1 was last week. Plan 2 is now to get that world title. Seth Rollins needs it for the power. Braun Breaker's kind of the muscle. I don't know if we need a third wrestler in this group, at least not yet. However, I do agree with you that closing that out with a Punk, a Jey, and a Sammy staring down Braun, Paul, and Seth, sure, to make it a 6-man tag, the obvious booking decision, you do need a third man. I don't know if we need to go down that route, though. I also think you can do the 2v2, leave Jey out of it, so you can circle back to Jey for that world title, Drew McIntyre would be a good addition. I like him as the lone wolf, though. His whole thing is, I'm on my own, everyone's wrong. I don't know, I get where you're coming from with Drew, but I'm not quite there yet. Now, I thought we were getting Sammy turning. I think we're going to. I think that's what this is leading to. I think the direction is Sammy is going to end up joining Braun and Seth in the same breath as I said that they don't need a third man. I think that's where we're going eventually. 1 or 2 weeks ago, we kind of got scared and all nervous that Seth and Jimmy in the ring, and there was this weird stressful tension of what's Sammy gonna do? He's looking at the title, he's standing behind Jey. We kind of got a little more of that to close Raw. He was standing behind Punk, and during the match that was going on, I thought maybe Sammy was standing a little close to Jey going up top. Sammy's being sketchy. So I think that's more so what's gonna happen as opposed to the 3 and 3. So I'm giving this a boo. And again, a boo sounds so harsh, but it's just, a boo isn't boo, you're wrong, you. It's just, I disagree. Maybe I do change this. I don't know. All right, next one. Jey Uso proved, all caps proved, he can, all caps hoop, in a main event match as the world champ. And I won't take he got carried seriously because it takes two to tango. 100 emoji. I 100 emoji agree. My Twitter is currently blowing up right now because I'm saying Jey Uso can wrestle. I don't know. I'm not going to get on my soapbox. I'm not going to make this whole video about this, but I will a little bit. I don't know what's up with the Jey Uso haters. You're allowed to not like someone. Sure, not like someone. But just to discredit someone for no reason is crazy. Sure, you can not like a match. Maybe you didn't love his match against Gunther. You probably didn't like his match at WrestleMania 40. I didn't like that match either. I'm not saying Jey Uso's only done gold. I'm also not saying he's the greatest wrestler in the world. All I'm saying, though, it is crazy to come out of that Seth and Jey match and be like, that guy can't wrestle for shit. Sure, did he have Seth Rollins as a dance partner? One of the best, and you're going to make everyone look good if you're Seth Rollins? Yeah, of course. But he wasn't wrestling a broomstick out there. Jey held his own, and it was far from a Seth. I don't know how you can watch that match and be like, oh, Seth carried him. No way. I don't know. I think that's delusional. I think that's taking away and discrediting Jey just for the sake of discrediting Jey and to be with the cool kids and the cool group of being like, Jey sucks, we hate Jey, blah, blah. Sure, again, not like someone. Great. I don't give a shit. But man, did Jey look good in that match. And he made Seth, like, that's also part of wrestling, is making your opponent look great. He made Seth like $1 million. Sure, can you argue Seth doesn't need anyone to make him look like $100? Sure, I guess. But that's not wrestling. Seth can't look good unless there's someone else to make him look good on the opposite side, right? That's wrestling. It's a two-man sport. It's a tango. It's a dance. Can a dance be bad? Sure. Can one person lack it and it's not good and like whatever? Yeah, of course, all the time. This was not one of those cases. So obviously, if you couldn't tell, this is a yay. This is a yay times 100. I'll even turn it to a yeet. As much as I don't even like the yeet stuff. I think the yeet chant sucks. It's so just like Vine 2012, whatever. Like, I'm not this like, Jey Uso does everything perfect, whatever. Like, I can critique. I can say things I like and don't like. However, it's a pretty good spear. It was a pretty good super kick coming off the springboard, a la Shawn Michaels, Shelton Benjamin. Whoa, he said it. Whoa. It's wild at this point. Keep on hating him if you want. I think it makes him better. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's proven everyone wrong. It's great. I'm really enjoying this Jey championship run, and I'm glad he didn't lose it because I want to see more of Jey as a champion if we're getting main event matches like this. And also, all the credit in the world to Seth. Seth is, I think there's one later, Seth is one of the best wrestlers in the world. So obviously, he's going to make an already good Jey even better. Like, I'm not saying that Seth didn't do anything. Seth elevated Jey Uso to a point where a lot of other wrestlers can't elevate other wrestlers. It's just because Seth is that good at elevating people, but everyone's just going, he carried. No. Did he make them better? Yeah, absolutely. Did he carry? No. Woo, had a breath on that one. All right, next one. Austin Theory needs to be the third man. It's going to completely change his career. Again, I won't rehash kind of what I said about like, does there need to be a third man or not? I don't know. I'm kind of in the camp of not really right now, but if it's going to be anyone, I think Austin Theory's great. They've been priming this like Grayson Waller, Austin Theory split for a while. They cooled down on it. Now we're back up with the Sheamus stuff and like Grayson kind of screwing him over with the match. So I think we're going to get that feud and that turn eventually, and it would be cool for like maybe Seth to like take him under his wing, So this is a yay. I don't think needs to be the third man, but I do agree that it would elevate Theory to a level he has never been elevated before on the main roster. So this is a yay. All right, next this says, Pat McAfee's promo was horrible. Who wants to hear a 10-minute glaze fest of the Cornhuskers and where the World Series is being held at? I feel sorry for Gunther because he's carrying yet another feud that he shouldn't be a part of. Do I love that Pat is currently in a feud with Gunther or Gunther's currently in a feud with Pat? No, not necessarily. Especially in light of recent releases, like we are getting the color commentary guy wrestling. Sure, on the other hand, he has history wrestling. He's trained. He had a solid NXT showing back in the day. But just talking about his promo, I'm giving this a boo. I think his promo was good. Some of it, if you said bad or not great, I wouldn't have given you a boo. I don't think it was horrible. I don't think it was the best thing in the world. Is he naturally great on the mic? Yeah, he's a great talker. He's great on the stick just because he's naturally confident and he can talk and he knows how to do it. The cheap pops I don't care about. He's a football guy. He's a college game day guy. So it honestly makes sense about him talking about the college football stuff and whatever. So I'm not mad about that. Where I was, a lot of it didn't make sense where he was kind of saying to Gunther, you're soft and you're scared and whatever. Meanwhile, 5 or 6 weeks ago, he did bloody to a pulp a Jimmy Uso and was going crazy towards Jey and brutalizing him and da-da-da. Sure, a lot of that story was Gunther lost his confidence and he underestimated Jey and Pat played on that a little bit, but that felt slightly disconnected. But I'm glad that Gunther kind of counteracted, getting back in that cold state of just like, I'm gonna brutalize you, I'm coming off Mania, I have something to prove, I'm going to destroy you and rip your head off. So I think that was good to combat it. So horrible, no. It's gonna be a fun match. It's not like what I'm looking forward to necessarily, but I'm gonna be watching, and we're on stream here. This is a good time for a plug. Stache Club stream right here on the Stache Club channel. Check it out when it's time to be live. All right, next one that says, Seth Rollins is the greatest professional wrestler of all time. His longevity, consistency, his ability to continuously get better with age is unmatched by anyone else. Give the man his flowers and appreciate him while we have him. Sure, I'm giving this a yay. I'm not gonna stake my claim that he's the greatest professional wrestler of all time. I think that's maybe a conversation for when all is said and done a little bit more. But ultimately, just on the basis of him being one of the greatest, he's definitely one of the greatest of all time. He's one of the greatest now. You could argue he's the greatest right now at bare minimum. So I'm giving this a yay. A yay given especially because we need to give him his flowers. And I'm always pro showing Seth the love. For so many feuds, especially in the past 1 or 2 years, he's been the fall guy. He's been the trusted guy to put up against like a, returning Cody Rhodes. And, he's losing feuds. But I love that he won at 41. We're with this new faction. He's now, still in this feud with Punk, which I think he probably should ultimately win. I don't know. That's to be seen. But yeah, he's one of the best. Don't take it for granted every single time we get to see him wrestle on a random Monday or a pay-per-view or a PLE, whatever. So yeah, a yay for giving Seth his flowers. One of the greatest. Hell yeah. All right, speaking of Seth, this next one says, I know Punk and Seth has been going for a while, but I like it continuing because after Mania, it feels like it's no longer just business for Punk and that he is personally after Seth. I'm on the fence. I don't know. I like the Punk run in. Does it all make sense? Yes. History with Seth. However, I kind of would have liked a little bit of a cool off. So I'm going to give it a boo. It's a slight boo, which is like just the slightest disagree. I can see where you're coming from and I appreciate it, but I'm a little bit just more over here on it, where I think I would have liked a little bit of a cool down, not necessarily on Punk being on TV. Like, I'm glad Punk's returning. I think he should be returned soon and back in action. But I also wouldn't have minded maybe just like Punk going into a different feud, Seth doing this faction thing, and then circling all the way back to like, hey, did you forget about me? Remember, you can't miss something unless it's gone for a little bit. However, I am just kind of speaking so early. This is Punk's return since Mania, and it's the first reignition since Mania. Reignition? Is reignition a word? I'm not sure. Of this feud, so I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. I'm going to give it the slightest boo, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're proven so right that like, this is great and it's on a different level now, because I can fully see it just getting more and more gruesome and personal and mean-spirited in the best way. All right, last one here. This says, this was the best episode of Raw this decade. That's 10 years, folks. 10 years. Not a dull moment. Seth and Jey showed out. Paul with an amazing promo. Pat and Gunther was great. Loved Becky's promo. Everything was perfect. And hey, I didn't see a whole lot of, which granted, maybe there wasn't a hot take about it because it was just a banger. Also, I'd say the best match of the night, Io Roxanne. Jey and Seth was good. If Io Roxanne got a little more time, then I don't know, not the point. Seth and Roxanne went crazy. I love the involvement of Julia, Roxanne on the main roster. Call her up at this point, Jesus Christ. Io, again, proving, this isn't what this comment's about. This is me being an Io and Io stan. Io, one of the best, proving it. Match was a banger. I think I tweeted this. I want a 60-minute Iron Woman match between those two. They have so much chemistry. I really loved. I think people have a problem with it, but I really loved like all the roll-ups and the pin attempts and all the different sequences, and like it was some graps, it was pinning attempts, and finally Io snuck out on one. I like the handshake. That seemed genuine maybe in real life, but in kayfabe, Julia coming out, blah. But point being, best Raw of the decade, I'm not going to stake a claim. I don't know. I'm going to give this a yay because it was a great Raw. I think it's definitely a top Raw of at minimum the Netflix era. And not to compare it, because again, this isn't what this comment's about, but man, you compare it to SmackDown. Woo. SmackDown has its high points. It definitely has its low points. But, I was on stream for Raw, and I'm looking at the time, like, we're at the main event already? Oh my God, I'm ready for this. Where sometimes on SmackDown, you're like, ooh, damn, I don't know if we needed this match. Or like, oh, let's pick things up here. Raw's been on fire. I do agree this was definitely one of my favorite episodes of Raw, at minimum this year / the Netflix era. I love ending on a positive note, so like, like I said, it's a yay. But you gotta do me a favor. You gotta mention Io. You gotta mention Roxanne. Like, it culminates everything, but like, come on. All right, folks, I think that does it for this week's WWE Raw yays and boos. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your yays and boos are. Some hot takes. I'd love to read them in the comments. Please subscribe, leave your likes, like I said. Follow me on everything, John John Moonsault, all this stuff, my YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. And let me know how you like this. It's kind of becoming a series, as you can see. So let me know what you think. All right, I appreciate you being here. I'll see you next time. See you tomorrow for the podcast. Oh yeah, podcast is gonna come out as this is coming out on a Tuesday. Podcast is gonna be bumped to Wednesday, I believe. So should have said it at the beginning, saying it now. All right, see ya. Have a good one. Bye.